It's always up to chance, and your chance may have run out. Here's a look at McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse. This is the Batman Forever's Two-Face. Batman faces off against two foes, the schizophrenic, horribly scarred former district attorney Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, and the Riddler, a disgruntled ex-Wayne Enterprise inventor seeking revenge against the former employer by unleashing his brain-sucking weapon on Gotham City's residents. As the Cape Crusader also deals with tortured memories of his parents' murder, he has a new romance with psychologist Chase Meridian. Blind, stupid, simple, doodah, clueless luck is about the best way I could describe finding these things actually in the wild. I actually picked up all four figures at my local Toys R Us, and it sure beat having to pay the prices I was going to do online to get this set. Two-Face is my favorite of the four figures, even though we haven't really looked at Robin yet. I was really anxious and hoping that McFarlane would do, and all their movie tie-in characters eventually would get around to Batman Forever, because I just love the zaniness of Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. He's not a perfect Two-Face, but he's a cool-looking Two-Face. The figure, though, is going to stand at 7 inches in height, or Harvey Dent is 17.5 centimeters tall. Here's where we are right now when it comes to this wave. We've already looked at both the Sonar Suit Batman and the Jim Carrey Riddler. I hope you guys have been enjoying those reviews so far. With the two that we've already gotten, we've got ourselves both a body and a head for the Nightmare Bat. We can now finally add the wing, as one of the wings come include with Harvey Dent. I should have really did this with Riddler, bringing in the Batman's version of Riddler, because of course that's the only movie tie-in verse version of the character we have. But I'm going to do it at least here for Two-Face, just because I really like the look of Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face. They are using some of the similar molds. You can probably already check off the things that you already would imagine be the same, like the arms are going to be the exact same. It also looks like they're sharing the exact same legs. Torsos are going to be, though, a little bit different. While Harvey Dent, the Aaron Eckhart version of him, has an open jacket, Tommy Lee likes to have his jacket buttoned shut. Wings and things come packed along with Dent. The first thing we'll have a look at, though, is not necessarily a wing. It's a display stand. It has the DC logo branded down below. It has a peg off to the far corner that can plug into either one of Harvey's boots. Move that off to the side. Figure also comes included with a trading card. If you're following as well what we've done so far, we've already got ourselves a Batman. We then also got ourselves a Jim Carrey. And I think to looking at this, again, does anybody really care? They probably don't. Riddler would have been like basically down here because everything on the villain side would have been slightly smaller. Val Kilmer's Batman on the poster was front and center. And then you had kind of like the Rogues a little bit smaller in size. So like Riddler would have been down over here, and I think like Two-Face would have probably been like right over here. Chase Meridian, Robin, and of course the Batmobile. So you really can't quite line everything up. I think at the very least you probably could line up Riddler to, of course, Two-Face, and it lines up almost perfect, even though obviously there's a border there between the two pictures. On the back, though, of the card, it's the exact same read-up. In a way, I wish that the read-up was a little bit more specific to the character, but again, like for the fact that they're just using the same read-up every single time, at least it has something to do with the movie, so that at least that's something. Nice image, though, of Two-Face on the front. Whether, though, you like the way that he handled the role, a little on the more zanier side, I do at least like the look of Two-Face. It's one of my all-time favorite looks today. Riddler, Two-Face should always, I feel, have hair on his head. At the moment you start to make him bald, I think it just loses some of the appeal. Two-Face should have just a one zany side and just crazy-looking hair. Tommy Lee Jones' version of him definitely had that. Let's move that off to the side. So the figure does come included with a wing bat, or a bat wing. Seeing where we've left off so far, I've already taken the liberty of adding the post. I didn't even have to heat this up. I was thinking, okay, do I have to put this in hot water? No, just a little bit of turning eventually gave way, and I got myself the, well, wingless bat right now, dangling from its display stand. You can take yourself the Batwing. Now, the Batwing is a harder plastic. It's that kind of plastic that would snap if you're not too careful. Luckily, though, the ball joint doesn't seem to be that kind of variety of plastic, so I don't think you're going to have any worries. We're going to take the Batwing. We're going to make sure we've got it facing the right way, and we're just going to snap it in place. Maybe snap is not the best word I should have been really using. I'm going to plug it in place, and there's one of the wings for the bat with the promise that we're going to complete the wing and the rest of the bat with a review of Robin in an upcoming review. I hope you guys will be joining me for that. There is, by the way, some articulation for the bat. I will probably cover off more of the territory when we eventually look at Robin, but there's a ball joint here. You can open and close the mouth, and of course you got the wings. They're on ball joints there too. Nice looking bat. And of course, this can also move back and forth too. Let's move that off to the side. We're going to spend more time talking about that at the later review. The one thing that also Two-Face does come include with is two hands. So he has a closed fist that's going to swap out with a gripping hand over here. And then he has a gripping hand that's going to swap out for the coin flipping hand over here. A coin flipping hand? Wait, what? Yes. Unfortunately, though, with the mandate being still in place that no guns can be included with these figures, Two-Face really rightfully should have come included with a gun, something that would have been glowing like he would have had in the movie. I think would have been one way to kind of work around the idea that they can include guns. You can sort of get the tease, though, that he does also have a gripping hand. So it leads me to believe that even though they couldn't include a gun hand, or couldn't include a gun, he has at least a hand there for if you want to use a gun from another figure. I might just end up doing it. It just seems so out of place that you get a gripping hand like this, and you don't get a gun to go inside the grip. One thing I do like, though, is the way they've handled the coin flip. Now, when we did have a look at Two-Face, the Aaron Eckhart version, which they've essentially done is just, they skipped the flip altogether and they just put the coin in between his thumbs and his finger. I mean, you can, in your imagination, use the idea that he would have been flipping the coin. You don't have to use much of your imagination here, though. They have done this really cool effect by having multiple coins looking like they're in motion. So it looks like he's actually flipping it. This very much does remind me of, it was a DC Direct line, and we got ourselves, well, it was a Two-Face that was part of that wave. I think Strange was in there as well. Hugo Strange. There was a Batman, and there was a Poison Ivy. One of my favorite lines that we've got from DC Direct had a very similar sort of flipping action that came included with their Two-Face. I'm glad to see that McFarlane thought outside the hand or thought outside the box, gave him a little bit of a flipping action there. That's a really fun effect. Going to likely include that, though, when it comes to displaying this guy on the shelf. I mean, why would you want to take this off, and why would you put it back in the bag and back in the packaging? Forget about it. Too cool, too cool. Now, for the head sculpt, though, for Two-Face, I think it's pretty good. The only thing I probably would have done, though, is I would have made the hair a little bit further out like this. I know in the movie, though, it's pretty high up, and it tends to be sort of just like something that looks like it drapes over. But I would have made the hair probably just a little bit longer. I think the head sculpt, though, is fantastic. I can see, though, why right away I said to you guys that Two-Face was going to be my favorite from this wave. I'm reinstating that now by saying, again, like, Two-Face is my favorite from this wave. He looks fantastic. And I don't think much would really need to be involved if they wanted to retool this figure again, recast it, where you're getting basically like the top hat Two-Face that we get for the circus. Tell me, Doctor, do you like the circus? Anyways, the little top hat, different color of clothing. Of course, I think it's very easy they could do this guy as a Platinum Edition Two-Face that looks the way he looks like in the circus. Of course, you got the leopard print on the one side. I actually had very similar pants to that. Don't judge me, but they were blue instead of the pink color. Of course, you got yourself some printed motif here there on the collar, and again, like a cheetah print or a leopard print there as well for the tie and the shirt. Again, there's like the head sculpt is really good on this one. The thing I like about Two-Face is even though he didn't really fit the character in the movie, he certainly did fit the profile. It looks a lot like Two-Face. Two-Face for me, again, should always really have hair. The moment you start to remove things like hair on the character, he sort of becomes just like an everyday bad guy. He needs the zaniness of the hair. He needs the crazy over-the-top outfit, half and half treatment. So I like that on one side, it's just a regular district attorney. And then on the other side, of course, just the zaniness of Two-Face, which I really do also like the way he's introduced in the movie, where he's walking along and you only really see him from one side until eventually he turns around and then you see the scarred side of him as well. Of course, they justify it that Batman is somehow in the court at the time that Harvey Dent is like testifying, or like he's not testifying, but he obviously is the district attorney at the time, and the mobster splashes up the acid, and Batman just happens to be sitting in the back seat. Is he just making conversation the whole time? Say, hey, Batman, how's your day going? Oh, it's going pretty good. I stopped at drive-thru. Like, is he just talking to all the other jurors or the other people inside the courtroom? Just leaps over. Of course, by then it's too late. Harvey's all scarred from the side. It isn't simply just painting the face in pink or purple. They've added all this nice little veins that he's got on the side of his face as well. So it really looks so fantastic. I think it also looks very much like Tommy Lee Jones as well. Between this one and the Riddler, I think we're getting some stellar looking sculpts from McFarlane's team. As already mentioned though, if we bring back in the Aaron Eckhart, you can see like they are using what seems to be the shoulders, the bicep, the sleeve. I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to. And it also looks like they're using the same legs. The torsos are different, though, because, again, like Aaron Eckhart likes to have his jacket open up, and then Two-Face, the Tommy Lee Jones, does like to have his buttoned up. Now, this is using all softer plastic over top of basically a harder body. For the articulation on Two-Face, though, his head rotates all the way around. It's on a ball joint. The head looks up, looks down. Yeah. You can also rotate his arm all the way around. You can bring the arm out, and you can also swivel at the bicep, double hinge on the elbow. And whether you want to use this hand, yes, or you want to swap it out to the other hand, no. Hand works the exact same way. Just though be careful. I mean, even though this is a fairly hard plastic, I think you could easily bend this if you're not too careful. Upper torso is going to be on a ball joint, despite the fact you've got a jacket over top of it. Legs split out, which again, a very loud ratcheted joint. You can take the legs and move forward. You can move them back. There's a swivel at the top of the thigh, double hinge on the knee. And again, you've got the articulation in the ankle, both back and forth, and a rock there as well. And the figure does have some toe articulation as well. I think the only other thing, and I'd have to go back and reference the movie again, I feel like he has himself like a little plate over top the front of the boots. I probably could go in there, I'm sure, with like a silver Sharpie and just kind of cover off the tip of his shoe. Because I think on one side he would have had a regular dress shoe, and then on the other side he would have had like a little steel plate. I think that's right. So I may have to go in there and just kind of paint that. That's something I myself can easily do. Outside of that realm, I'm not going to start messing around customizing figures. I don't think at all that there's anything I would customize short of maybe the shoe here for Harvey Dent. He's a nice looking Two-Face. You know, again, whether you like the look of Tommy Lee Jones or you even like the way he acted, he really did act a whole lot less like Two-Face and a whole lot more like Riddler. I really feel like there should have been a lot more of a split, a very clear divide where there was a more normal, sane Harvey Dent on one side, and then with the flip of the coin, like he has right now, there would have been the sadistic, like, just crazy side of Two-Face. Of course, on this side, Sugar and Spice. I don't know if we're ever going to get a Sugar and Spice 2-pack. If they aren't considering it, I hope that they do. And even like a throne with like the tabletop. Okay, I'm kind of going a little crazy here. But again, like bringing back in the figures that we've already had a look at. Here's Riddler with the Two-Face and the Sonar Suit Batman. By far for me, my favorite is the Two-Face. Riddler's not bad either, but I mean, the one that I was looking forward to the most, if somebody was to say, hey, McFarlane's planning to do a Batman Forever wave, the first figure I would think of right away popped in my head without even the use of a mind-controlling blender. I would have said right away, I hope they're going to be doing a Tommy Lee Jones. And honestly, now seeing him in hand, he didn't disappoint at all. This now really is the second movie tie-in Two-Face. And I think, honestly, he's a little bit more of a character of Two-Face as opposed to just a guy that happens to get scarred. As a side note, though, Two-Face should always really have hair. The moment you make this guy bald on one side, I think you lose some of the appeal. Two-Face should be so over the top, so split down the middle, that on the one side, again, you got the normal version of Harvey Dent, and then on the other side, you got leopard print Harvey Dent. The figure is fantastic. Progress. We are making some substantial progress when it comes to Nightmare Bats. The bat itself, though, while still initially thinking, like, why would they have included that as being the bath piece? I could have thought of other things instead, like maybe the mind control blender, the safe. I don't know how interesting anybody would be. Would anybody care about a safe that Batman escapes from? It's acid! Maybe not. But at the very least, though, the more that I'm building this bat, the more I'm liking the look of it. It doesn't even have to necessarily be attached to Batman Forever. If you just really want a cool-looking sculpted bat, it fits the part nicely. Fitting, I feel, also the part nicely was Tommy Lee Jones being cast as Two-Face. Though maybe his execution online leaves something to be desired. I think actually seeing him on the silver screen, Two-Face maybe lived a little bit more up to being a Riddler character than he actually was the split personality Harvey Dent. There is apparently, though, a director's cut, Joel Schumacher, Batman Forever, that's apparently exists. I don't know if they're ever going to circulate it, but apparently it does add a little bit more elements to the characters. It certainly adds a little bit more backstory. And I do hope that it brings a little bit more depth to Dent's character. He's a little more two-dimensional, certainly, in the movie, but he certainly did have the part. He looked the part. And I'm glad that when they designed the look of Harvey Dent Two-Face, that they made him so over the top. You know, as a side note, again, I said this already, Harvey Dent Two-Face should always have hair on the scarred side. What do you guys think when it comes to Two-Face? Do you like the idea that the character should have hair on the side that's scarred, or do you think that he should just be bald? He obviously was bald when it comes to the Aaron Eckhart version of him, but I'm glad that Tommy Lee Jones let his hair all out, literally. The coloring, though, on this guy looks very accurate to the movie, and as a side note, I'm glad that they included the little flipping coin hand. I do hope, though, fingers crossed, that we are going to be getting ourselves another version of Harvey Dent down the road as he appears, though, at the circus. Not really a big fan of Val Kilmer's Batman, and I don't like the way he says circus. What do you guys, though, think of the figure? Let me know down below in the comments section. I know it's probably too soon to say this, but what would you say is your favorite character we've gotten from this wave? Is it Harvey Dent? Is it Two-Face? Is it the Riddler? Is it Sonar Suit Batman? Or you're holding your thoughts off until eventually we look at Robin, which just, by the way, happens to be the next figure we're looking at in the upcoming review. In the meantime, though, if you did enjoy this review, do it a solid. Hit it with a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. The review of Robin is right around the corner, so making sure you don't miss out on that by hitting the subscribe, turning the bell on, and of course, coming back. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.